land marked by slavery. A people crying out for freedom. From a simple baby hidden in a basket emerges the man chosen to free a nation. You are about to relive the journey that changed the course of history. Prepare to dive into Exodus chapters 1 to 20. A journey of faith, liberation, and eternal covenants. The story begins now. Exodus 1, chapter 1. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel who came into Egypt, every man and his household who came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls who came out of the loins of Jacob were 75 souls. And Joseph was in Egypt already, and Joseph died, and all his brothers, and all that generation. And the sons of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, who knew not Joseph. And he said to his people, Behold, the people of the sons of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal craftily with them, lest they multiply. And it come to pass that, when war happens, they also join themselves to our enemies, and fight against us, and get them up out of the land. Therefore they set taskmasters over them to afflict them with their burdens. And they built store cities for Pharaoh, Pithom, and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied, and the more they spread out. And they were grieved because of the sons of Israel. And the Egyptians made the sons of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard service, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field, all their service with which they made them serve with rigor. And the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Puah. And he said, When ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the birth stool, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him, but if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said to them, Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the male children alive? And the midwives said to Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively, and are delivered before the midwife comes to them. And God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied, and grew very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them households. And Pharaoh ordered all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. Chapter 2. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw him that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch. And she put the child in it, and laid it in the reeds by the river's edge. And his sister stood afar off, to know what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And she saw the ark among the reeds, and sent her handmaid to fetch it. And she opened it, and saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call a nurse for thee from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maiden went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Take this child away, and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child, and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and said, Because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown up, that he went out to his brothers and looked on their burdens. And he saw an Egyptian smiting a Hebrew, one of his brothers. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he smote the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And he went out the second day, and behold, 2 men of the Hebrews were striving together. And he said to him who did the wrong, Why do thou smite thy neighbor? And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Do thou think to kill me, as thou killed the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, Surely the thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and helped them, and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel their father, he said, How is it that ye have come so soon today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and moreover he drew water for us, and watered the flock. And he said to his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter. And she bore a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. And it came to pass in the course of those many days that the king of Egypt died. And the sons of Israel sighed because of the bondage, and they cried. And their cry came up to God because of the bondage. And God heard their groaning. And God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God saw the sons of Israel, and God took knowledge of them. Chapter 3. Now Moses was keeping the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the back of the wilderness, and came to the mountain of God, to Horeb. And the agent of Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will turn aside now, and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called to him out of the midst of the bush, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Do not draw near here. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place on which thou stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. And I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the A. And now, behold, the cry of the sons of Israel have come to me. Moreover, I have seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppress them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee to Pharaoh, that thou may bring forth my people, the sons of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses said to God, Who am I, that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the sons of Israel out of Egypt? And he said, I will certainly be with thee, and this shall be the sign to thee, that I have sent thee. When thou have brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. And Moses said to God, Behold, when I come to the sons of Israel, and shall say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they shall say to me, What is his name? What shall I say to them? And God said to Moses, I am who I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say to the sons of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And God said moreover to Moses, Thus shalt thou say to the sons of Israel, Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my memor. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say to them, Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, has appeared to me, saying, I have surely visited you, and seen that which is done to you, and I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt to the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, to a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken to thy voice. And thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Israel, to the king of Egypt. And ye shall say to him, Lord, the God of the Hebrews has met with us. And now let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' Jew. And I know that the king of Egypt will not give you leave to go. No, not by a mighty hand. And I will put forth my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders which I will do in the midst of it, and after that he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall come to pass that, when ye go, ye shall not go empty. But every woman shall ask of her neighbor, and of her who sojourns in her house, jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall despoil the Egyptians. Chapter 4. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken to my voice, for they will say, Lord has not appeared to thee. And Lord said to him, What is that in thy hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast in on the ground. And he cast it on the ground. And it became a serpent, and Moses fled from before it. And Lord said to Moses, Put forth thy hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and laid hold of it, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to thee. And Lord said furthermore to him, Put now thy hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Put thy hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again. And when he took it out of his bosom, behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, nor hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe even these 2 signs, nor hearken to thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land. And the water which thou take out of the river shall. And Moses said to Lord, O Lord, I am not eloquent, neither heretofore, nor since thou have spoken to thy servant, for I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. And Lord said to him, Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes a man dumb, or deaf, or seeing, or blind? Is it not I, Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with thy mouth, and teach thee what thou shalt speak. And he said, O Lord, send, I pray thee, by the hand of him whom thou wilt send. And the anger of Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, Is there not Aaron thy brother the Levite? I know that he can speak well. And also, behold, he comes forth to meet thee. And when he sees thee, he will be glad in his and thou shalt speak to him, and put the words in his mouth. And I will be with thy mouth and with his mouth, and will teach you what ye shall do, and he shall be thy spokesman to the people. And it shall come to pass, that he shall be to thee a mouth, and thou shalt be to him as God. And thou shalt take this rod in thy hand, with which thou shalt do the signs. And Moses went and returned to Jethro his father-in-law, and said to him, Let me go, I pray thee, and return to my brothers who are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moses, Go in peace. And Lord said to Moses in Midian, Go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead who sought thy life. And Moses took his wife and his sons, and set them upon a donkey, and he returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand. And Lord said to Moses, When thou go back into Egypt, see that thou do before Pharaoh all the wonders which I have put in thy hand. But I will harden his heart, and he will not let the people go. And thou shalt say to Pharaoh, Thus says Lord, Israel is my son, my firstborn, and I have said to thee, Let my son go, that he may serve me, and thou have refused to let him go. Behold, I will slay thy son, thy firstborn. And it came to pass on the way at the lodging place, that Lord met him, and sought to kill him. Then Zipporah took a flint, and cut off the foreskin of her son, and cast it at his feet. And she said, Surely a bridegroom of blood thou art to me. So he let him alone. Then she said, A bridegroom of blood thou art, because of the circumcision. And Lord said to Aaron, Go into the wilderness to meet Moses. And he went, and met him on the mountain of God, and kissed him. And Moses told Aaron all the words of Lord with which he had sent him, and all the signs with which he had ordered him. And Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the sons of Israel. And Aaron spoke all the words which Lord had spoken to Moses, and did the signs in the sight of the people. And the people believed. And when they heard that Lord had visited the sons of Israel, and that he had seen their affliction, then they bowed their heads and worshipped. Chapter 5. And afterward Moses and Aaron came and said to Pharaoh, Thus says Lord, the God of Israel, Let my people go, that they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, Who is Lord, that I should hearken to his voice to let Israel go? I do not know, Lord, and moreover I will not let Israel go. And they said, The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, and sacrifice to Lord our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword. And the king of Egypt said to them, Therefore do ye, Moses and Aaron, loose the people from their works, get you to your burdens. And Pharaoh said, Behold, the people of the land are now many, and ye make them rest from their burdens. And the same day Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick as formerly. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the number of the bricks which they made formerly, ye shall lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish any of it. For they are idle, therefore they cry, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Let heavier work be laid upon the men, that they may labor in it, and let them not regard lying words. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spoke to the people, saying, Thus says Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go yourselves, get you straw where ye can find it, for none of your work shall be diminished. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. And the taskmasters were urgent, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. And the officers of the sons of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten, and demanded, Why have ye not fulfilled your task both yesterday and today, in making brick as formerly? Then the officers of the sons of Israel came and cried to Pharaoh, saying, Why do thou deal thus with thy servants? There is no straw given to thy servants, and they say to us, Make brick. And behold, thy servants are beaten, but the fault it in thine own people. But he said, Ye are idle, ye are idle. Therefore ye say, Let us go and sacrifice to Lord. Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet ye shall deliver the number of bricks. And the officers of the sons of Israel saw that they were in affliction, when it was said, Ye shall not diminish anything from your bricks, your daily tasks. And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said to them, Lord, look upon you and judge, because ye have made our fragrance to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. And Moses returned to Lord and said, Lord, why have thou dealt ill with this people? Why is it that thou have sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he has dealt ill with this people, neither have thou delivered thy people at all. Chapter 6. And Lord said to Moses, Now thou shalt see what I will do to Pharaoh. For by a strong hand he shall let them go, and by a strong hand he shall drive them out of his land. And God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am Lord. And I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but I was not known to them by my name, Lord. And I have also established my covenant with them, to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their sojourning, in which they sojourned. And moreover I have heard the groaning of the sons of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore say to the sons of Israel, I am Lord. And I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God. And ye shall know that I am Lord your God, who brings you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. And I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you for a heritage. I am Lord. And Moses spoke so to the sons of Israel, but they did not hearken to Moses for anguish of spirit, and for cruel bondage. And Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Go in, speak to Pharaoh king of Egypt, that he let the sons of Israel go out of his land. And Moses spoke before Lord, saying, Behold, the sons of Israel have not hearkened to me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me, who am of uncircumcised lips? And Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, and gave them an order to the sons of Israel, and to Pharaoh king of Egypt, to bring the sons of Israel out of the land of Egypt. These are the heads of their fathers' houses, the sons of Reuben the firstborn of Israel, Hanok, and Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. These are the families of Reuben. And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel, and Jamin, and Ohad, and Jachin, and Zohar, and Shaul the son of a Canaanite woman. These are the families of Simeon. And these are the names of the sons of Levi according to their generations, Gershon, and Kohath, and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137 years. The sons of Gershon, Libni and Shimei according to their families, and the sons of Kohath, Amram, and Izhar, and Hebron, and Uzziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. And the sons of Merari, Mahli, and Mushi. These are the families of the Levites according to their generations. And Amram took him Jochebed his father's sister to wife, and she bore him Aaron and Moses. And the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. And the sons of Izhar, Korah, and Nepheg, and Zikri. And the sons of Uzziel, Mishael, and Elzaphan, and Sithri. And Aaron took him Elisheba, the daughter of Aminadab, the sister of Nahshon, to wife. And she bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. And the sons of Korah, Asir and Elkanah and Abiasaph. These are the families of the Korahites. And Eleazar, Aaron's son, took to him one of the daughters of Putiel to wife, and she bore to him Phinehas. These are the heads of the fathers of the Levites according to their families. These are that Aaron and Moses to whom Lord said, Bring out the sons of Israel from the land of Egypt according to their armies. These are those who spoke to Pharaoh king of Egypt, to bring out the sons of Israel from Egypt. These are that Moses and Aaron. And it came to pass on the day when Lord spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, that Lord spoke to Moses, saying, I am Lord. Speak thou to Pharaoh king of Egypt all that I speak to thee. And Moses said before Lord, Behold, I am of uncircumcised lips, and how shall Pharaoh hearken to me? Chapter 7. And Lord said to Moses, See, I have made thee as God to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak to Pharaoh, that he let the sons of Israel go out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh will not hearken to you. And I will lay my hand upon Egypt, and bring forth my armies, my people the sons of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Lord, when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt, and bring out the sons of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did so, as Lord commanded them, so they did. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron 83 years old, when they spoke to Pharaoh. And Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh shall speak to you, saying, Show a wonder for you, then thou shalt say to Aaron, Take thy rod, and cast it down before Pharaoh, that it become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron went in to Pharaoh. And they did so, as Lord had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called for the wise men and the sorcerers, and they also, the magicians of Egypt, did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents, but Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not hearken to them as Lord had spoken. And Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is stubborn, he refuses to let the people go. Get thee to Pharaoh in the morning, lo, he goes out to the water, and thou shalt stand by the river's edge to meet him, and the rod which was turned to a serpent thou shalt take in thy hand. And thou shalt say to him, Lord, the God of the Hebrews has sent me to thee, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, until now thou have not hearkened. Thus says Lord, In this thou shalt know that I am Lord. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in my hand upon the waters which are in the river, and they shall be turned to blood. And the fish that are in the river shall die, and the river shall become foul. and the Egyptians shall loathe to drink water from the river. And Lord said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Take thy rod and stretch out thy hand over the waters of Egypt, over their rivers, over their streams, and over their pools, and over all their ponds of water, that they may become blood. And Moses and Aaron did so as Lord commanded. And he lifted up the rod and smote the waters that were in the river, in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, and all the waters that were in the river were turned, and the fish that were in the river died, and the river became foul, and the Egyptians could not drink water from the river, and the blood was throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did in like manner with their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not hearken to them as Lord had spoken. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, neither did he lay even this to heart. And all the Egyptians dug round about the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled, after Lord had smitten the river. Chapter 8. And Lord spoke to Moses, Go into Pharaoh and say to him, Thus says Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. And the river shall swarm with frogs, which shall go up and come into thy house and into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, and into the house of thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thy kneading trough. And the frogs shall come up both upon thee, and upon thy people, and upon all thy servants. And Lord said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch forth thy hand with thy rod over the rivers, over the streams, and over the pools, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did in like manner with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, Entreat Lord, that he take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice to Lord. And Moses said to Pharaoh, Have this honor over me. When shall I entreat for thee, and for thy servants, and for thy people, that the frogs be destroyed from thee and thy houses, and remain in the river only? And he said, Tomorrow. And he said, Be it according to thy word, that thou may know that there is none like Lord our God. And the frogs shall depart from thee, and from thy houses, and from thy servants, and from thy people, they shall remain in the river only. And Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh. And Moses cried to Lord concerning the frogs which he had brought upon Pharaoh. And Lord did according to the word of Moses. And the frogs died out of the houses, out of the courts, and out of the fields. And they gathered them together in heaps, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was relief, he hardened his heart, and did not hearken to them, as Lord had spoken. And Lord said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the earth, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so. And Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth. And there were lice upon man and upon beast. All the dust of the earth became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. And there were lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magician said to Pharaoh, This is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he did not hearken to them, as Lord had spoken. And Lord said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he comes forth to the water, and say to him, Thus says the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies. And in that day I will set apart the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end thou may know that I am Lord in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. This sign shall be by tomorrow. And Lord did so, and there came grievous swarms of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses. And in all the land of Egypt the land was corrupted because of the swarms of flies. And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, "Go ye, sacrifice to your God in the land." And Moses said, "It is not right to do so, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to Lord our God. Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and will they not stone us? We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Lord our God, as he shall command us." And Pharaoh said, "I will let you go, that ye may sacrifice to Lord your God in the wilderness, only ye shall not go very far away. Entreat for me." And Moses said, "Behold, I go out from thee, and I will entreat, Lord, that the swarms of flies may depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. Only let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more in not letting tea." And Moses went out from Pharaoh and entreated Lord. And Lord did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. And Pharaoh hardened his heart this time also, and he did not let the people go. Chapter 9. Then Lord said to Moses, "Go into Pharaoh and tell him, Thus says Lord, the God of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let them go, and will still hold them, behold, the hand of Lord is upon thy cattle which are in the field, upon the horses, upon the donkeys, upon the camels, upon the herds, and upon the flocks, a very grievous pestilence. And Lord shall make a distinction between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that belongs to the sons of Israel. And Lord appointed a set time, saying, Tomorrow Lord shall do this thing in the land. And Lord did that thing on the morrow. And all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the sons of Israel not one died. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not so much as one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. But the heart of Pharaoh was stubborn, and he did not let the people go. And Lord said to Moses and to Aaron, Take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust over all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with sores upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Egypt. And they took ashes of the furnace, and stood before Pharaoh. And Moses sprinkled it up toward heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with sores upon man and upon beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were upon the magicians, and upon all the Egyptians. And Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not hearken to them, as Lord had spoken to Moses. And Lord said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say to him, Thus says Lord, the God of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For this time I will send all my plagues upon thy heart, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, that thou may know that there is none like me in all the earth. For now I have put forth my hand, and smitten thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou have been cut off from the earth. But indeed for this cause I have raised thee up, to display in thee my power, and that my name may be proclaimed in all the earth. As yet thou exalt thyself against my people, that thou wilt not let them go. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as has not been in Egypt, since the day it was founded even until now. Now therefore send, hasten in thy cattle and all that thou have in the field, for every man and beast that shall be found in the field, and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them, and they shall die. He who feared the word of Lord among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. And he who did not regard the word of Lord left his servants and his cattle in the field. And Lord said to Moses, Stretch forth thy hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and Lord sent thunder and hail, and fire ran down to the earth, and Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was hail, and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as had not been in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. And throughout all the land of Egypt the hail smote all that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail smote every herb of the field, and broke every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the sons of Israel were, was there no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said to them, I have sinned this time. Lord is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Entreat Lord, for there has been enough of these mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go, and ye shall stay no longer. And Moses said to him, As soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands to Lord. The thunders shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that thou may know that the earth is Lord's. But as for thee and thy servants, I know that ye will not yet fear Lord God. And the flax and the barley were smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was in bloom. But the wheat and the rye were not smitten, for they were not grown up. And Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh, and spread abroad his hands to Lord. And the thunders and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more, and hardened his heart, he and his servants. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the sons of Israel go, as Lord had spoken by Moses. Chapter 10. And Lord said to Moses, Go in to Pharaoh, for I have hardened his heart, and the heart of his servants, that I may show these my signs in the midst of them, and that thou may tell in the ears of thy son, and of thy son's son, what things I have wrought upon Egypt, and my signs which I have done among them, that ye may know that I am Lord. And Moses and Aaron went in to Pharaoh, and said to him, Thus says Lord, the God of the Hebrews, How long wilt thou refuse to humble thyself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into thy border, and they shall cover the face of the earth, so that no man is able to see the ground. And they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remains to you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which grows for you out of, and thy houses shall be filled, and the houses of all thy servants, and the houses of all the Egyptians, as neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were upon the earth to this day. And Hetur and Pharaoh's servants said to him, How long shall this man be a snare to us? Let the men go, that they may serve Lord their God. Do thou not yet know that Egypt is destroyed? And Moses and Aaron were brought again to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go, serve Lord your God, but who are those who shall go? And Moses said, We will go with our young and with our old, with our sons and with our daughters, with our flocks and with our herds will we go, for we must hold a feast to Lord. And he said to them, So be Lord with you, as I will let you go, and your little ones. Look, evil is before you, not so. Go ye now who are men, and serve Lord, for that is what ye desire. And they were driven out from Pharaoh's presence. And Lord said to Moses, Stretch out thy hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt, and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail has left. And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day, and all the night, and when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt, and rested in all the borders of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such. For they covered the face of the whole ground, so that the land was darkened, and they ate every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing, either tree nor herb. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against Lord your God and against you. Now therefore forgive, I pray thee, my sin only this once, and entreat Lord your God that he may only take away from me this death. And he went out from Pharaoh, and entreated Lord. And Lord turned an exceedingly strong west wind, which took up the locusts and drove them into the Red Sea. There remained not one locust in all the border of Egypt. But Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the sons of Israel go. And Lord said to Moses, Stretch out thy hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They did not see each other, neither did anyone rise from his place for 3 days. But all the sons of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called to Moses and said, Go ye, serve Lord, only let your flocks and your herds stay. Let your little ones also go with you." And Moses said, "Thou must also give into our hand sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice to Lord our God. Our cattle shall also go with us. There shall not a hoof be left behind. For must we take of it to serve Lord our God? And we do not know with what we must serve Lord, until we come there." But Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said to him, "Get thee from me. Take heed to thyself. See my face no more. For in the day thou see my face thou shalt die." And Moses said, "Thou hast spoken well. I will see thy face again no more." Chapter 11. And Lord said to Moses, "Yet one plague more I will bring upon Pharaoh, and upon Egypt. Afterwards he will let you go from here. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out from here altogether. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let them ask every man of his neighbor and every woman of her neighbor, jewels of silver and jewels of gold." And Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt, in the sight of Pharaoh's servants, and in the sight of the people. And Moses said, "Thus says Lord, about midnight I will go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sits upon his throne, even to the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there has not been, nor shall be any more. But against any of the sons of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that Lord makes a distinction between the Egyptians and Israel. And all these thy servants shall come down to me, and bow themselves down to me, saying, Get thee out, and all the people who follow thee. And after that I will go out." And he went out from Pharaoh in hot anger. And Lord said to Moses, "Pharaoh will not hearken to you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt." And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. And Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not let the sons of Israel go out of his land. Chapter 12. And Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, "This month shall be to you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye to all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to their fathers' houses, a lamb for a household. And if the household be too little for a lamb, then he and his neighbor next to his house shall take one according to the number of the souls, according to every man's eating, ye shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male a year old. Ye shall take it from the sheep, or from the goats, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at evening. And they shall take of the blood, and put it on the 2 side posts, and on the lintel upon the houses in which they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire, and unleavened bread. With bitter herbs they shall eat it. Do not eat of it raw, nor boiled at all with water, but roasted with fire, its head with its legs and with the inwards of it. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, but that which remains of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. And thus ye shall eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is Lord's Passover. For I will go through the land of Egypt in that night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgments. I am Lord. And the blood shall be to you for a sign upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and there shall no plague be upon you to destroy you, when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be to you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Lord. Throughout your generations ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be to you a holy convocation. And in the 7th day a holy convocation. No manner of work shall be done in them, except that which every man must eat, that only may be done by you. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. For in this selfsame day I have brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye shall observe this day throughout your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days there shall be no leaven found in your houses. For whoever eats that which is leavened, that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a sojourner or one who is born in the land. Ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations ye shall eat unleavened bread. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said to them, Draw out, and take to you lambs according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop, and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the for Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood upon the lintel and on the 2 side posts, Lord will pass over the door, and will not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and to thy sons forever. And it shall come to pass, when ye have come to the land which Lord will give you, according as he has promised, that ye shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass, when your sons shall say to you, What do ye mean by this service? That ye shall say, It is the sacrifice of Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the sons of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians, and delivered our houses. And the people bowed the head and worshipped. And the sons of Israel went and did so, as Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass at midnight, that Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh who sat on his throne to the firstborn of the captive who was in the dungeon. And all the firstborn of cattle, and Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, Rise up, get you forth from among my people, both ye and the sons of Israel, and go, serve Lord as ye have said. Take both your flocks and your herds, as ye have said, and be gone, and bless me also. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people to send them out of the land in haste, for they said, We are all dead men. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the sons of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they asked of the Egyptians jewels of silver, and jewels of gold and raiment. And Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they let them have what they asked. And they despoiled the Egyptians. And the sons of Israel journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, who were men besides children. And a mixed multitude also went up with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. And they baked unleavened cakes of the dough which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt, and could not tarry, neither had they prepared for themselves any provisions. Now the time that the sons of Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, LXX, was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of 430 years, even the selfsame day it came to pass, that all the armies of Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed to Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. This is that night of Lord to be much observed of all the sons of Israel throughout their generations. And Lord said to Moses and Aaron, This is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no foreigner eat of it, but every man's servant who is bought for money, when thou have circumcised him, then he shall eat of it. A sojourner and a hired servant shall not eat of it. In one house it shall be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth any of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone of it. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when a stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to Lord, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it, and he shall be as one who is born in the land. But no uncircumcised man shall one law shall be to him who is homeborn, and to the stranger who sojourns among you. Thus did all the sons of Israel, as Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day, that Lord brought the sons of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their armies. Chapter 13. And Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Sanctify to me all the firstborn, whatever opens the womb among the sons of Israel, both of man and of beast, it is mine. And Moses said to the people, Remember this day in which ye came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage, for by strength of hand Lord brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day ye go forth in the month Abib. And it shall be, when Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanite, and the Hittite, and the Amorite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, which he swore to thy fathers to give thee, a land flowing with milk and honey, that the 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and in the 7th day shall be a feast to Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten throughout the 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen with thee in all thy borders. And thou shalt tell thy son in that day, saying, It is because of that which Lord did for me when I came forth out of Egypt. And it shall be for a sign to thee upon thy hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes, that the law of Lord may be in thy mouth, for with a strong hand has Lord brought thee out of Egypt. Thou shalt therefore keep this ordinance in its season from year to year. And it shall be, when Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanite, as he swore to thee and to thy fathers, and shall give it to thee, that thou shalt set apart to Lord all that opens the womb. And every firstling which thou have that comes of a beast, the male shall be Lord's. And every firstling of a donkey thou shalt redeem with a lamb, and if thou wilt not redeem it, then thou shalt break its neck. And all the firstborn of man among thy sons thou shalt redeem. And it shall be, when thy son asks thee in time to come, saying, What is this? That thou shalt say to him by strength of hand, Lord brought us out from Egypt, from the house of bondage. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that Lord slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrifice to Lord all that opens the womb, being, and it shall be for a sign upon thy hand, and for frontlets between thine eyes. For by strength of hand Lord brought us forth out of Egypt. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not by the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, for God said, Lest perhaps the people regret when they see war, and they return to Ag. But God led the people about by the way of the wilderness by the Red Sea. And the sons of Israel went up armed out of the land of Egypt. And Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had strictly sworn the sons of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away from here with you. And they took their journey from Succoth, and encamped in Etham, in the edge of the wilderness. And Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud, to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire, to give them light, that they might go by day and by night. The pillar of cloud by day, and the pillar of fire by night departed not from before the people. Chapter 14. And Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel that they turn back and encamp before Pihahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, before Baal-zephon. Ye shall encamp opposite it by the sea. And Pharaoh will say of the sons of Israel, They are entangled in the land. The wilderness has shut them in, and I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he shall follow after them. And I will get for me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his army, and the Egyptians shall know that I am Lord. And they did so. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people were fled. And the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was changed towards the people. And they said, What is this we have done, that we have let Israel go from serving us? And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt, and captains over all of them. And Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and he pursued after the sons of Israel, for the sons of Israel went out with a high hand. And the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen and his army, and overtook them encamping by the sea beside Pihahiroth, before Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the sons of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they were very afraid. And the sons of Israel cried out to Lord, And they said to Moses, "Because there were no graves in Egypt, have thou taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have thou dealt thus with us to bring us forth out of Egypt? Is not this the word that we spoke to thee in Egypt, saying, Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians? For it were better for us to serve the Egyptians than that we should die in the wilderness." And Moses said to the people, "Fear ye not. Stand still and see the salvation of Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. Lord will fight for you, and ye shall keep silent." And Lord said to Moses, "Why do thou cry to me? Speak to the sons of Israel, that they go forward. And lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thy hand over the sea, and divide it. And the sons of Israel shall go into the midst of the sea on dry ground. And I, behold, I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall go in after them. And I will get for me honor upon Pharaoh, and upon all his army, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Lord, when I have gotten for me honor upon Pharaoh, upon his chariots, and upon his horsemen." And the agent of God, who went before the camp of Israel, moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud moved from before them, and stood behind them. And it came between the camp of Egypt and the camp of Israel. And the cloud and the darkness was there, yet it gave light by night, and the one did not come near the other all the night. And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all the night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the sons of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass in the morning watch that Lord looked forth upon the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of cloud, and troubled the army of the Egyptians. And he took off their chariot wheels, and they drove them with difficulty, so that the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for Lord fights for them against the Egyptians." And Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out thy hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen." And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to its strength when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. And the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen, even all the army of Pharaoh who went in after them into the sea. There remained not so much as one of them. But the sons of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. Thus Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And Israel saw the great work which Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared Lord, and they believed in Lord, and in his servant Moses. Chapter 15. Then Moses and the sons of Israel sang this song to Lord, and spoke, saying, "I will sing to Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea. Lord is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will praise him, my father's God, and I will exalt him. Lord is a man of war, Lord is his name. Pharaoh's chariots and his army he has cast into the sea, and his chosen captains are sunk in the Red Sea. The deeps cover them. They went down into the depths like a stone. Thy right hand, O Lord, is glorious in power. Thy right hand, O Lord, dashes the enemy in pieces, and in the greatness of thine excellency thou overthrow those who rise up against thee. Thou send forth thy wrath, it consumes them as stubble. And with the blast of thy nostrils the waters were piled up. The flood stood upright as a heap. The deeps were congealed in the heart of the sea. The enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil. My desire shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. Thou did blow with thy wind, the sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Thou stretched out thy right hand, the earth swallowed them. Thou in thy loving kindness have led the people that thou have redeemed. Thou have guided them in thy strength to thy holy habitation. The peoples have heard, they tremble. Pangs have taken hold on the inhabitants of Philistia. Then the chiefs of Edom were dismayed, the mighty men of Moab. Trembling takes hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan are melted away. Terror and dread falls upon them. By the greatness of thine arm they are as still as a stone, till thy people pass over, O Lord, till the people pass over whom thou have purchased. Thou wilt bring them in, and plant them on the mountain of thine inheritance, the place, O Lord, which thou have made for thee to dwell in, the sanctuary, O Lord, which thy hands have established. Lord shall reign forever and ever. For the horses of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea, and Lord brought back the waters of the sea upon them. But the sons of Israel walked on dry land in the midst of the sea. And Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, Sing ye to Lord, for he has triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea. And Moses led Israel onward from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur. And they went 3 days in the wilderness, and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, What shall we drink? And he cried to Lord. And Lord showed him a tree, and he cast it into the waters, and the waters were made sweet. There he made for them a statute and an ordinance, and there he proved them. And he said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of Lord thy God, and will do that which is right in his eyes, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases upon thee. And they came to Elim, where were 12 springs of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. Chapter 16. And they took their journey from Elim. And all the congregation of the sons of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of, and the whole congregation of the sons of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron in the wilderness. And the sons of Israel said to them, Would that we had died by the hand of Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, when we ate bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness, to kill this who then Lord said to Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or not. And it shall come to pass on the 6th day, that they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moses and Aaron said to all the sons of Israel, At evening, then ye shall know that Lord has brought you out from the land of Egypt. And in the morning, then ye shall see the glory of Lord, for he hears your murmurings against Lord. And what are we that ye murmur against us? And Moses said, This shall be when Lord shall give you flesh to eat in the evening, and bread to the full in the morning. For that Lord hears your murmurings which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not And Moses said to Aaron, Say to all the congregation of the sons of Israel, Come near before Lord, for he has heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spoke to the whole congregation of the sons of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness. And behold, the glory of Lord appeared in the cloud. And Lord spoke to Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the sons of Israel. Speak to them, saying, At evening ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread. And ye shall know that I am Lord your God. And it came to pass at evening that the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay round about the camp. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness a small round thing, small as the hoarfrost on the ground. And when the sons of Israel saw it, they said one to another, What is it? For they knew not what it was. And Moses said to them, It is the bread which Lord has given you to eat. This is the thing which Lord has commanded. Gather ye of it every man according to his eating, an omer a head. According to the number of your persons ye shall take it, every man for those who are in his tent. And the sons of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And when they measured it with an omer, He who gathered much had nothing over, and he who gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moses said to them, Let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they did not hearken to Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning. And it bred worms and became foul, and Moses was angry with them. And they gathered it morning by morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun grew hot, it melted. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said to them, This is that which Lord has spoken. Tomorrow is a solemn rest, a holy Sabbath to Lord. Bake that which ye will bake, and boil that which ye will boil, and all that remains over lay up for you to be kept until the. And they laid it up till the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not become foul, neither was there any worm in it. And Moses said, Eat that today, for today is a Sabbath to Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath, there shall be none in it. And it came to pass on the 7th day that some of the people went out to gather, and they found none. And Lord said to Moses, How long do ye refuse to keep my commandments and my laws? See, because Lord has given you the Sabbath, therefore he gives you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Israel called the name of it manna. And it was like coriander seed white, and the taste of it was like wafers with honey. And Moses said, This is the thing which Lord has commanded. Let an omerful of it be kept throughout your generations, that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt. And Moses said to Aaron, Take a pot, and put an omerful of manna in it, and lay it up before Lord to be kept throughout your generations. As Lord commanded Moses, so Aaron laid it up before the testimony to be kept. And the sons of Israel ate the manna 40 years, until they came to a land inhabited. They ate the manna until they came to the borders of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is the 10th part of an ephah. Chapter 17. And all the congregation of the sons of Israel journeyed from the wilderness of Sin by their journeys, according to the commandment of Lord, and encamped in Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people contended with Moses, and said, Give us water that we may drink. And Moses said to them, Why do ye contend with me? Why do ye challenge Lord? And the people thirsted there for water. And the people murmured against Moses, and said, Why have thou brought us up out of Egypt, to kill us and our sons and our cattle with thirst? And Moses cried to Lord, saying, What shall I do to this people? They are almost ready to stone me. And Lord said to Moses, Pass on before the people, and take with thee from the elders of Israel, and thy rod, with which thou smote the river, take in thy hand, and go. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the contending of the sons of Israel, and because they challenged Lord, saying, Is Lord among us, or not? Then Amalek came and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moses said to Joshua, Choose us out men, and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the rod of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone, and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aaron and Hur held up his hands, the one on the one side, and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going due. And Joshua weakened Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And Lord said to Moses, Write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar, and called the name of it Lord Nissi. And he said, Lord has sworn, Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Chapter 18. Now Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, heard of all that God had done for Moses and for Israel his people, how that Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took Zipporah, Moses' wife, after he had sent her away, and her 2 sons, of whom the name of the one was Gershom. For he said, I have been a sojourner in a foreign land. And the name of the other was Eliezer. For he said, the God of my father was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, came with his sons and his wife to Moses into the wilderness where he was encamped, at the mount of God. And he said to Moses, I, thy father-in-law Jethro, have come to thee, and thy wife, and her 2 sons with her. And Moses went out to meet his father-in-law, and did obeisance, and kissed him. And they asked each other of their welfare, and they came into the tent. And Moses told his father-in-law all that Lord had done to Pharaoh and to the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the travail that had come upon them by the way, and how Lord delivered them. And Jethro rejoiced for all the goodness which Lord had done to Israel, in that he had delivered them out of the hand of the Egyptians. And Jethro said, Blessed be Lord, who has delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, who has delivered the people from under the hand of the Egyptians. Now I know that Lord is greater than all gods, yea, in the thing wherein they dealt proudly against them. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, took a burnt offering and sacrifices for God. And Aaron came and all the elders of Israel to eat bread with Moses' father-in-law before God. And it came to pass on the morrow that Moses sat to judge the people, and the people stood about Moses from the morning to the evening. And when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, What is this thing that thou do to the people? Why do thou sit by thyself, and all the people stand about thee from morning to evening? And Moses said to his father-in-law, Because the people come to me to inquire of God. When they have a matter, they come to me, and I judge between a man and his neighbor, and I make them know the statutes of God and his laws. And Moses' father-in-law said to him, The thing that thou do is not good. Thou wilt surely wear away both thou and this people that is with thee, for the thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone. Hearken now to my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God be with thee. Be thou for the people toward God, and bring thou the cases to God. And thou shalt teach them the statutes and the laws, and shalt show them the way in which they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating unjust gain, and place such over them, to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s, and let them judge the people at all seasons. And it shall be, that every great matter they shall bring to thee, but every small matter they shall judge themselves. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden if thou shalt do this thing, and God command thee so, then thou shalt be able to endure, and all this people also shall go to their place in peace. So Moses hearkened to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard cases they brought to Moses, but every small matter they judged themselves. And Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land. Chapter 19. In the 3rd month after the sons of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day they came into the wilderness of Sinai. And when they were departed from Rephidim, and came to the wilderness of Sinai, they encamped in the wilderness, and there Israel encamped before the mount. And Moses went up to God. And Lord called to him out of the mountain, saying, Thus thou shalt say to the house of Jacob, and tell the sons of Israel, Ye have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be my own possession from among all peoples, for all the earth is mine, and ye shall be to me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak to the sons of Israel. And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and set before them all these words which Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that Lord has spoken we will do. And Moses reported the words of the people to Lord. And Lord said to Moses, Lo, I come to thee in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with thee, and may also believe thee forever. And Moses told the words of the people to Lord. And Lord said to Moses, Go to the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments, and be ready for the third day. For the third day Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. And thou shalt set bounds to the people round about, saying, Take heed to yourselves that ye not go up onto the mount, or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mount shall be surely put to death. No hand shall touch him, but he shall surely be stoned or shot through. Whether it be beast or man, he shall not live. When the trumpet sounds long, they shall come up to the mount. And Moses went down from the mount to the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, Be ready for the third day. Come not near a woman. And it came to pass on the third day, when it was morning, that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of an exceedingly loud trumpet. And all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the lower part of the mount. And Mount Sinai, the whole of it, smoked, because Lord descended upon it in fire, and the smoke of it ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him by a voice. And Lord came down upon Mount Sinai to the top of the mount. And Lord called Moses to the top of the mount, and Moses went up. And Lord said to Moses, Go down, command the people, lest they break through to Lord to gaze, and many of them perish. And let the priests also, who come near to Lord, sanctify themselves, lest Lord break forth upon them. And Moses said to Lord, The people cannot come up to Mount Sinai, for thou commanded us, saying, Set bounds about the mount and sanctify it. And Lord said to him, Go, get thee down, and thou shalt come up, thou and Aaron with thee. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to Lord, lest he break forth upon them. So Moses went down to the people and told them. Chapter 20. And God spoke all these words, saying, I am Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make to thee a graven image, nor any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, upon the third and upon the fourth generation of those who hate me, and showing loving kindness to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Lord thy God in vain, for Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor, and do all thy work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to Lord thy God. Thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long in the land which Lord thy God gives thee. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And all the people perceived the thunderings, and the lightnings, and the voice of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they trembled, and stood afar off. And they said to Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. And Moses said to the people, Fear not, for God has come to prove you, and that his fear may be before you, that ye not sin. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near to the thick darkness where God was. And Lord said to Moses, Thus thou shalt say to the sons of Israel, Ye yourselves have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Ye shall not make other gods with me, gods of silver or gods of gold, ye shall not make to you. An altar of earth thou shalt make to me, and shall sacrifice on it thy burnt offerings, and thy peace offerings, thy sheep, and thine oxen. In every place where I record my name I will come to thee, and I will bless thee. And if thou make to me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stones. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou have polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps to my altar, that thy nakedness be not uncovered on it. If you like the content, don't forget to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.